$300 left the account in a single afternoon. Not on drugs, not on gambling. On throw pillows, a jacket, and a meal that cost 4 times what it should have. The account had just reached its highest balance in 2 years, and somehow that was the trigger. The question isn't what you bought. The question is why almost safe feels more dangerous than broke. Most people who struggle with money assume their problem is discipline. They download the budgeting apps, they cut the subscriptions, they meal prep on Sundays. And for a while, it works. The number climbs, the anxiety fades just slightly, and then, like a rubber band that has been stretched too far, something snaps. The money vanishes before they can explain it. They call it weakness. Therapists have a different word for it. The word is a window. It is called a window of tolerance, and it describes the narrow band of emotional intensity your nervous system learned to survive in as a child. Not the range where you thrive, the range where you learned that you were safe. For some people, that window was built around scarcity, around the low hum of not enough. And the terrifying truth is that when your bank account rises above that familiar line, your body reads it not as success, but as a threat. This is not a metaphor. When the nervous system detects a state it does not recognize, even a good state, it activates the same circuitry it uses for danger. Abundance, for a child who grew up in financial chaos, is unfamiliar, and the brain does not distinguish between unfamiliar and unsafe. It simply fires the alarm. The spending is not impulsive. It is regulatory. Your brain is not sabotaging your future. It is protecting the version of you that learned how to survive. Researchers who study adverse childhood experiences have documented this pattern across thousands of cases. Adults who grew up in homes where money was volatile, where it arrived dramatically and disappeared overnight, where a parent's mood was tied directly to what was in the account. These adults develop what some clinicians call a scarcity schema, a deep, pre-verbal belief that having enough is temporary, that it will be taken, and that the only rational move is to spend it before it disappears on its own. The schema lives below language. It was written before you had words for money, before you understood interest rates or rent or inflation. It was written in the body in the moment you watched a parent cry over a bank statement, or overheard a whispered argument about whether the lights would stay on. By the time you are an adult standing in a store you did not intend to enter, the schema is already running. It finished its calculation before your prefrontal cortex got the memo. There is a cruelty in the timing. The schema does not activate when you are truly broke, because broke is familiar. It activates on the way up. The moment your savings account crosses whatever invisible threshold your nervous system marked as dangerous, the urge arrives. It does not feel like fear. It feels like desire. It feels like you have earned something. You have been good. You deserve this. The language of reward conceals the mechanics of self-sabotage. Psychologists call this process affect regulation through behavior. You are not buying the jacket. You are lowering an internal alarm. The purchase creates an immediate neurological shift. Dopamine, yes, but more importantly, a return to a known emotional state. The anxiety of abundance dissolves the moment the balance drops back into familiar territory. You feel relief. You may even feel clarity. And your brain files that transaction under the category of things that work, which means it will run the program again and again, every time you approach the threshold, until the program itself is examined and rewritten. And that rewriting does not happen through willpower. It does not happen through better apps or stricter rules. It happens through something far slower and less satisfying. Learning to tolerate the discomfort of having enough. learning to sit inside a state your body calls dangerous and not move. There is a practice some financial therapists assign that sounds almost insultingly simple. Do not spend for 48 hours after your account reaches a new high, not because the purchases are bad, because the pause interrupts the automatic sequence. It inserts a gap between the alarm and the action. In that gap, something remarkable can happen. You can feel the fear, not perform it, not act on it, just feel it, and discover it does not kill you. The deeper work is harder. It involves going back, not with blame, but with understanding, to the place the program was written, to the child who made a completely logical decision. Money is unsafe to hold, so I will not hold it. That child was right. Given the information available, the environment was unstable. The response was intelligent. What you are doing now is not overcoming a flaw. You are updating software written by a very small person who did the best they could with what they had. Some of this work benefits from a professional, a therapist trained in somatic or trauma-informed approaches, or a certified financial therapist who sits at the intersection of money and psychology. But some of it begins simply with naming the pattern, with saying out loud or writing down, I grew up where money was chaos, and my body still believes that is normal. I am not broken. I am running an old program in a new life. That sentence alone can change the distance between you and the next purchase. The goal is not to become someone who never struggles. The goal is to lengthen the pause, to build a nervous system that can visit abundance without immediately dismantling it, to feel the unfamiliar feeling of enough and stay there one day longer than you did last time. You are not trying to be perfect with money. You are trying to widen the window, inch by inch, until safety and sufficiency finally feel like the same thing.